Welcome back to My Sports Compendium and a very, very special episode. I have a Desert Island Slabs alumnus back. You may recognise him. Andrés Carmona, aka Champvanderford, has basically hit me up. He's DM'd me. And he said that there's an urgent public service announcement that has to be disseminated to the world. In this last week, he had a very, very special encounter with someone very, very, very special to him. And we're going to hear about it right now for the first time. So, Champ, how are you?
Mejor imposible. Impossible. I can't be better. I'm doing great. I feel energized. I've grown 2 inches. I've also grown in height as well. I mean, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling just ecstatic. I had a moment that I knew it was only right and only fitting. There was only one place that this could be told. Um, Seeing how I am now a celebrity in our world. I am now a superhero, someone that is I'm into a whole nother realm of collecting now. Now I'm actually meeting my heroes face to face instead of just buying them on paper or cardboard stock or even think it was Yugoslavian gum wrapper, but we'll let Nils tell that story for another day. But James, I met him. I met El Pibe. It happened so sudden, so fast. Champ hasn't moved that fast since the last time. No, well, look, let's not go that route because that could get really, really creepy. But the champ was very speed, like his speed was I've never moved as quick, as nimble as a panther. And
Champ
basically
Panther.
Copa America. Yeah, I was just like, I moved so fast. So I get to notice that Carlos Valderrama is coming to Houston. He's obviously following our team. He's doing media, and while he was in Houston, he decided to do some, pop-ups. So it just so happens he decides to do a meet and greet at a restaurant called Made in Medellin, owned by two twins. Amazing workers, amazing guys, Carlos and Jose. And basically, once I found out, it was like, yo, man, it took about less than a second, probably say a quarter of a second, to know that I was on my way to greatness. There was no way that I was gonna miss that. And I talked to my children. I was like, yo, like, what do y'all think? Do y'all want to go with me? This is gonna be intense, And they're like, of course. Why wouldn't we go with you, right? So we start getting ready, and then it just says that he would sign things and take a pic, and it's like a meet and greet. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, they're probably gonna allow one item, and maybe a quick pic of just me and the kids or whatever, right? So I start looking through everything, and immediately I kind of zeroed in on like 5 things. I was like, okay, now from these 5 things, I gotta pull three. I knew one of them for sure was the rookie album. I knew that one was one that I had to have signed. Just it being his first sticker, his first album that season. Crazy thing about that is 1981. That's my birth. That's my like birth year. So I've always thought that was really awesome, right?
And yeah,
Um,
you were always going to pick that one because that was the you had
I
free
knew
reign.
it.
You've had free reign once before, and that was what you chose for him for Desert Island Slab.
Yeah,
So
I
that
I
was
I
in there.
knew. I knew that I wanted that album signed. I knew that if there's another one of those, it's in Colombia in some jungle or somewhere, right? Like that isn't in anyone else's hands, and that made it for me to have that one of one, that our rookie album signed by El Pibe, and to know that he signed it in front of me. Like that to me had such an appeal, in front of my children, Um, and so yeah, man. So let's just like go, like into this story because it's James. You would have felt this. It was so intense for me. The whole time I felt like it was surreal. Like everything as it was happening, I was just following the path. Like it was like a guy that had the freaking ball. I grab it and it just opens up. I start to read the blockers. I start to follow, right, and I make it all the way to the touchdown zone. So we start getting everything ready. I'm grab my hat. I'm like going crazy. I knew I had to take the chain gang, gang, gang. So we like got that one up. I took the foot sticker on it because I knew that people were gonna look at me. I knew that that was gonna cause attention. And being as this is the first time that Champvanderford kind of goes out into the world as Champvanderford in the Colombian restaurant field, I guess you could say. So I knew that people were gonna know like who I was and see that chain on me in that slab. And I thought that was fitting that, if you know, you know. And so we get there, we got there about an hour early, and that probably was the best move because when we get there, I noticed that it looked calm, but it wasn't. I saw like a lot of cars parked, so I found a spot. Actually, got lucky. A car pulled out. We pulled in and grabbed my bag, grab everything, and we walk in. When we walk in, the restaurant is completely packed, and the environment was amazing. Like the music, they had a DJ in there, a dude on the mic. They had, I mean, the environment was amazing. Everyone wearing their kits, little kids, adults drinking, dancing. Like the vibe was just amazing, ecstatic. And so we walk in and I'm like, yo, man, can we get a table? And there's literally like only two left. And I'm like, oh man. And he's like, well, that one is for El Pibe. So that one you can't take, but this one right here you can. And I'm like, all right, perfect. Like I'm right here. Boom. So we sit down and man, it's just the moment for me to soak it in. So immediately, Champ gets into his what's the word? His what's called like exit mode where I start to see, okay, if anything pop off, where's Champ and his kids gonna go? So immediately I told the kids, okay, look, if this happens, y'all come to me. We're gonna stay off in this corner. There's this door right here, like trying to make an exit just to like let them know if anything happens. This is the
When
flow,
when you
right?
say that, as in because that's quite an interesting. I mean, it's good to always have
Okay,
contingency
it's
plans, but
well, well,
why is
it's
that? What? Tell
okay
me. What?
because I saw how fast things got out of hand in 2016 at my restaurant
Hmm.
for an event that wasn't scripted. And within 15, 20 minutes, our restaurant got filled. And within 30 minutes, the entire parking lot was filled. We had to put key on the door because it's crazy. I mean, this to me is like following Michael Jackson and like the Beatles. That's the only
Hmm.
thing that I could kind of say it is, right? Like, and so I knew that's why I was worried about taking them, but I knew like as a father, it's like I know that I could protect my kids in a situation like this. Like I knew that I've been in these types of things with stars and with people that I knew that once they're near me I could pick them up and I'm good, like you know what I mean, like I could wait off in a corner, let things go down, you know what I mean, like I'm good. And so I mean, yeah, it got out of hand quick. So walking in, if it's already packed, I'm like, and we're early, I knew I was like, yo, this could get kind of bad. Like, so that's why I think I started to think like, okay, it could get intense. So immediately, me and the kids, we kind of, like have this little plan, and then we're just sitting there, and then I have the chain on, and people are just like walking by, looking at the chain, and me, of course, just smiling, with the chain right there hanging out, right? And man, it's like all of a sudden outside, you just start to see kind of like things happening, and I mean, I kid you not, the whole front glass space had people waiting. They had a cop at the door and a worker inside at the door. So they had both doors covered, and then they had this other door which was covered as well. Um, so within 20 minutes of me being there, the outside was completely packed as far as like there was probably about 40 or 50 people. So I actually arrived, I think, like the perfect time. Then they're not letting anyone in. So people are kind of getting antsy because it's hot outside. It's like 100 degrees outside in Houston, and it's like a buildup. And it's crazy because it's El Pibe, an older player, and I'm seeing a lot of youngsters. But the whole thing is it's Colombia fever. Everyone wants to be around them. Everything signed by the coach, the water boy, the trainer. Like, you know what I mean? Like anybody, everyone is following. And this guy is a legend. This guy, we've discussed it, is an icon. And so as we're sitting there, I'm just looking at my kids, and I'm watching. I'm watching them take in this moment, and I know what it's meaning to me because I'm like on a whole nother level. I'm like, yo, we're actually gonna do it. Like we're inside. We're nice AC hitting us. We got drinks. Where everything is going good. So I'm kind of cool now. I'm now not as scared as I was because now I know. Okay, I'm good now. Um, and just the build up, the dude starts walking around to every table they're giving away shots, they're giving away bottles, and I'm like, oh man, this is getting good. Then he arrives, and everything changes. The environment is more electric, the energy, it's like everyone is looking around, waiters is looking confused. There's like it's like so much happening, and I'm just like, okay, all right, like this is about to get gully. Like this is about to be it. Like hit
How did he
air.
enter? How did he
So
enter? Did he just well,
so
tell me?
okay, so he first came in. He tried to come in through the front, but the line, like their plan was to let him deal with the people outside first,
Hmm.
and then because they were outside in the heat, and then they said everyone inside calm down. You're like gonna get your picture and everything. Everyone that's inside. So when I first came in, they told me that I had to be outside to get a photo or anything signed. But once I went inside, they changed that up and they're like, no, everyone inside, you're covered. So they have him in the front and they start to do it. He was outside for about 30 minutes before next thing I know, there's commotion inside the restaurant. This man did the Ray Liotta in Goodfellas and came in through the back. Him and his wife, they came in through like the back, through the kitchen. And then the restaurant, everyone gets up. It was like everybody got up. Even if there was babies sleeping, these little bastards got up quick. Like everybody's attention was looking at the kitchen. I look at my daughter and I'm like, "Do you see him? Do you see him?" And she's like, "I think I see his hair." And I'm like, "Oh my God." I'm like geeking out. My son is just looking back at me like, "Holy moly, this is intense. Like this is crazy, right?" He walks in and it was like Macho Man Randy Savage coming in like the 80s. Dun 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 dun, dun. And he used to come in and do the something. He was coming in, greeting people, taking pics slowly. Like he didn't come in walking fast and sat down at the table. This man came in at his pace, like interacting with fans, like you know what I mean? Like he did it so smoothly. And he walks in and he sits down and boom. And then it's just commotion. Everyone is now thinking like, so what's gonna happen? Is there a line? Do we wait at the table? What's gonna happen? And when people start coming in, you immediately think safety. And they did a great job of closing the doors immediately. And once everyone was inside, like I said, they had people at the doors. So I knew like the crowd wasn't gonna rush in. I mean, it would have had to been a psychopath to try, you know what I mean, to try to come in because the cops was there at the door. Other doors had staff, so they actually they figured it out real quick once he was there. You know what I mean? They figured it out
Yeah.
quick, like okay, he is here now. We got to lock it down. Then they told everyone to stand in line, and they pointed to the side, and immediately, like it was crazy. The restaurant looked full. The line formed. The line was like 100 deep, and the restaurant still looked full. Does that make that's how much
Yeah. Yeah.
people there were? That everyone went in line, and the restaurant was still full. So I'm just looking. I'm looking. I'm sitting. People are walking by, looking at the chain, looking at the album. I busted out the album. I showed it to a couple people. People are taking pictures of it. People are like, "Can I take a picture of this? Like this is from 1981," and I'm like, "Yeah."
Did
This is his
people?
album. It's like, Yeah.
As in, like, so people like, because I guess it's always really interesting as well as a point when I sort of tell people that sort of football cards, soccer card stickers even exist. Was it people didn't realise that that was a thing, or how was
No,
it?
no, 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 no.
What did you see like?
So Colombians, they are like when you're young, you're going with your little album and
Yeah,
you're trading with your friends, with your cousins. Like that's in their culture, like that. So they like folks knew what it was the moment I pulled it out, and they
yeah,
knew immediately. They're like, Pibe, the album, like it's got to be some type of important. So people were coming up like, hey, what is that? And da 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 da. And then the sticker, of course, is like the most braggadocious one because people just kind of knew that it was expensive. Like just that the fact that it was on a chain, and then some people probably thought it was cute. Like, oh wow, that's cool. But some people were like, yo, like that's like a great, like that's something that's expensive. Like, and I'm playing it right. Like I'm looking like Mr. Collector Man himself, right? So here's where it gets interesting. So here's where the story now, up until this point, I'd say everything is good. I'm comfortable. I've got a margarita in me. My kids are fed. They hit up the bathroom right before he came in from like the back. So I was like, ooh, kids, good timing. Like everything was perfect as a father. Now champ time. So now I'm thinking, okay, so I'm gonna have to get in line. Like I know the guys that own the place, but I wasn't that. I didn't want to be that guy of like, hey, can I, da, 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 da. You know what I mean?
yeah.
That's not champ. So I knew I was like, no, I'm gonna wait in line. Like that's just what it is. So the line doesn't move for like 20 or 30 minutes. And it's because then people inside were bringing in people that were coming in from outside saying that they were with their table. So then they were going to the door. The cops had to kind of like approve that people were to let in. But I think in most cases, it was just people were just trying to get people in. You know what I mean? Like, because at that
Yeah.
point, they knew that outside that he was done. So everyone that was inside was going to get it. So I think that's why everyone wanted to come in. Um, so I noticed that the line's not moving. I look at my daughter. I'm like, "Yo, that dude with the hat, he hasn't moved." And she's like, "Nah," because I told her I was like, "Keep your eye on him. Once he passes that doorway, then we go." You know what I mean? And James, like 30, 40 minutes, nothing. And I'm like, and then like the waiter comes by and he's like, yeah, man, they're probably going to leave like in 15 or 20 minutes because it's only a certain amount of time. And I'm like, whoa, like, oh man, there's no way that that's going to happen with all this crowd. You know what I mean? Like,
Was
I
it not
knew I was
moving?
like,
Was it not
no,
moving
it
just because
wasn't
people were
moving,
coming?
but
Because
everyone was
people were
giving too
coming
much
in.
sign. It was people were coming in
Oh,
and they had staff. So, I mean, it didn't get crazy. But the line, they couldn't, I think didn't have anybody on the line. So people were cutting, people were
mm,
shifting, people were coming up from tables, people were trying to now get, because he was signing whatever you had. So people were coming up with like six jerseys, and he would sit there and
mm.
sign the six jerseys. See what I mean? So people were doing like hats and kits and photos. People had their fathers on FaceTime. People were calling. I saw one dude had like four or five people on like a chat on like some type of chat, like like having him talk to them. So it was very like there wasn't any firm rules, but
Mm.
they were allowing fans to be fans. So that's why they get credit and credit goes to Pibe because that was an intense environment to be in, and he was so cool about it. Like you never saw him worried, you never saw him shift. You saw him smiling. Every picture, every autograph, every hug. This man hugged every like. I've never seen someone at that age understand their worth to that moment right there. He knew that people were never gonna like. There was people that were probably never gonna see him again. Right? Like he had
Yeah.
that in his brain because he played it like pro, like every pick. So there's this lady. I don't know her name. I wish I. This is my one flaw of the whole night is that I wasn't able to get her number or get her name. She sees the champ starting to worry, so she's like, "Hey, why don't you just let your kids cut with like whatever you want signed? Let them cut in line. Like just they're kids. Like no one's gonna say nothing. And I'm like, man, because there was people in line that were drinking, and I'm like, she's right, but I as a father just can't allow my kids to go like, hey kids, go to the front of that line and there's nothing but like
Yeah.
500 people inside of a
Yeah.
place that
Go
max hold 120. You know what I mean?
go
Like
and
I was
go
like, I
and do
can't
my
do
dirty
that,
work for me. Go and do
right?
my dirty work for
So,
me. Yeah, it's not.
right. So this is the beauty of it. So she's like, well, look, she's like, I'll take them up there. And I'm like, man, nah, like,
Why
let's
did she?
just
Did
go.
she know
Like,
you
let's
then?
just,
Did she
no,
know
she
you? And
just
why?
saw that
Why?
I was sitting there. I mean, maybe she heard of me.
Yeah.
I'm known to be known in a couple of places. Champ's known internationally, locally, nationally, even in places where there isn't people. So,
Well, my grandmother's a
no,
fan
honestly,
now.
honestly,
My
James,
grandmother's a fan.
honestly, right? See, look at that. Boom, I'm the man. Honestly, James, she must have seen the worry on my face that I started to
Yeah.
kind of see that it was at 100% and it started dropping to maybe 70% that I was going to get to see him. So then I got worried. Then I was like, you know what? Maybe it's destiny that just my kids get to get it signed and take a pic, which I would have been good with as well. Like if my children get that moment, that would have been cool for them. So we get up from like the table. The lady's like, I'll go first with them. So the lady goes up, and then I see that she's got a pathway because she's cutting in front of the line like completely. And I'm like, well, she's got the kids, so people can't get too nasty. You know what I mean? Like it's children, right? And my kids look so beautiful too. They're my children. So I freaking go to the end of the line and just try to play it. I'm a big wide body, so I'm not trying to just go to the front of the line in front of everybody. I was like, nah, man, I'm gonna try to play it cool. So I get to the back of the line. And then like a minute later, the lady walks up to me all the way to like the back of the line. And she's like, come on. And I'm like, what? She's like, come on, we're in the front. Like, let's go, let's go. And I'm like, oh wow. So I go to the front. Her husband, I guess she must have brought him up as well. Once they left my like kids there, she went and got her husband, I guess, first, because she like couldn't find me because I kind of went to the back of the line. So her husband is there with my kids and he's smiling and he's just there like, yeah, like, yo, come on, come on. So I'm walking up and I'm like, yo, like, I got my bag and I'm like, y'all did it. Like, oh my God. And then I hear people start like, hey, hey, man. And I'm like, oh shit. Like this isn't good. Like someone's gonna say something. Someone's gonna say something very obvious. So I got my bag and I try to lock eyes with the owner. And he looks up, he's like around 4 or 5 folks like away from me. And he sees me and it was just a little, what's up, man? Hey man, thank you for this. And I think that iced the situation that I kind of knew the
Yeah.
owner or people maybe were like, okay, cool. And then once my kids are in line, it's like not everyone saw the whole play. So people just assumed that maybe I went to the bathroom and my kids were in line up front. See what I mean? Like
Yeah.
because of how everything kind of played out within like a 3 to 4, you know what I'm saying, like minute span. Then it starts to happen. Champs, butterflies in the stomach. I'm sweating profusely. I'm looking around. I got my bag. I'm thinking I'm going to get robbed because there's like 520 Colombians in here. So I'm thinking, I got a whole bunch of stuff in there. I'm like, okay, so I got everything on me. And I'm like, all right, focus, focus, right? I look at my daughter. Funniest shit ever, James. I go, oh, third word, sorry. Fuck. Okay, so uh, I look at my daughter and I'm like, all right, you gotta record him like signing it. And she's like a picture with you. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Most important thing, I was like, is PSA needs a video of this shit. It's like, you gotta get him signing it so whenever I send it in, they know that he did it. So she's like, all right, all right. So she at this point has the stickers. She drops the 88 yellow one, right? Which I'm gonna show later, right? She drops like that one. So that one was out of the sleeve and everything, right? She drops it, and I look at her, and she kind of like looks at me, picks it up. Nothing happened. It dropped like perfectly. Um, so she grabs it, and then she's nervous because I'm nervous. My son is freaking out because we're in the middle now of like a lot of people, and we see him now within, I'd say, about 30 feet. So we start moving up, right? I'm feeling it like, okay, here we go, right? The dude's on the mic, the cop's right there. And like the
Was he at a
dude's on the
table or
mic,
what was he doing? Was he on a mic? What
yeah,
was it? Where
so
was
he's
he? Was he?
sitting at like so it wasn't a regular table. It was like a bar table. So it was like a higher one. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
and then he was on like a stool. So it wasn't like a normal chair. He was kind of up, right? So when it gets to my daughter, Andrea, she comes up and the dude on the mic is like, "Hey, this girl's a real collector of the Pibe. Hey, Pibe, look." So my daughter hands these stickers. Like, it's the most cutest thing because she's just standing there like so like innocent right in front of him. And he looks at them and he's like, "Oh," like he literally was just kind of like his eyes kind of like lit up, like, "Oh," boom, gets the marker, starts signing. So I look at her and I'm like, "Record, record." So she freaking like grabs the phone and starts to record, right? Well, as he's signing it. But she literally signed, like, filmed him literally like his hand signing it, which I thought was so cute and perfect, right? So then it's my turn. And at this point, I'm like a glistening ham. I'm like a honey ham with pineapple slices on like a in like a 500-degree oven, just sweating. And I know this is it. At this point, I don't care if the picture's gonna come out bad. I don't care if my eyes are blinking. Like I know this is the moment that the universe allowed. And I knew that having my daughter taking this picture, that was gonna make it the best part. Like that whatever image is on it, that's what my daughter did. That's her work
Hmm.
of art. Like, you know what I mean? That's what I think
Yeah.
I was kind of like gearing up now in my head. Like, don't worry about if it's blurry, if it's the moment. Like soak it in. Like, don't worry about those little things of what if, what if. So I have the album, I have it out, and the dude immediately he's still in shock about my daughter with these foot stickers, right? Then Big Daddy comes, Daddy Pop Pop comes in with the 1981 rookie album. Open it, the dude is like, "Pibe, mira esto," and like you could hear like the crowd because everyone already knew that like Pop Pop had something on him. Like everyone knew that Pop Pop was carrying heat because everyone was coming up to my table. People were taking pictures, so everyone knew that who is this guy? You know, like who is Champvanderford, right? So I put down the album. I look at him. I say, "Es un placer y es un honor, señor." That means like it's an honor and a pleasure, sir. Like, and that's it. There was nothing else to say. I shook his hand. He signs it. I'm watching him sign it. Then I'm like, okay, now picture time. Like, I'm like, wipe the sweat, right? Like one last time. The chain dangling. I'm like, all right, man,
Yeah.
the chain. I got the chain on nice. Like, all right, here we go. And the cop is right there, so they know that I want the pick. And the cop kind of knows me, so he's smiling. You know, he's seeing me getting ready for for this moment, like I'm some diva, which I obviously am. Right? Let's be honest about that. And so I freaking walk up and I try to get in the pick, and then I look at the cop because he's kind of like not in it, and I'm like, "Man, come here, man! Like a trio, baby. We about to do this Colombian style." Like, and I just grab, we take the pick. My daughter caught that moment. If you look at the picture, it's oh my God, man. I'd put it up there with the Mona Lisa. It's a timeless it's a moment for me, man. It's a moment for the hobby. It's a moment for anybody that has ever began all these journeys of hunting down all these players. And for me to be able to meet him in this situation, in this moment with my kids, with this like event that's going on in our city, with this vibe, the city's been lit. They had to shut down a main street. Like it, man, Colombians are everywhere. And so for them to just really like inject our city and really get crazy. I read all that and I knew that it was a moment. And I walked out of there. I go outside. The amount of people outside, I looked at my kids like, let's move quick. Like, let's move, let's move, let's move. And I knew then, like, just get out of Dodge, get out of Dodge. Like, let's get out, let's get out. Get in the car, turn on the car, AC on. I'm shivering. I'm like shaking. I'm like, oh my God, kids, we did it, we did it, we did it. At this point, I haven't seen the picture yet. So at this point, I'm in the car, I'm sweating, I'm geeking, I'm like, yo, we did it. Like we just pulled off the greatest heist in history. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then my daughter's like, look, Dad. And she's showing it to my son. And then I see his face light up. That was the moment for me. Like I didn't even see the picture to know that it was what it was supposed to be, right? Like, brother, I get that. I turn her phone, I look at it, and I looked at her, and I was like, picture perfect. Like you did it. Like that's what I told you. You did it perfectly. You got it. And she was like, yes, yes, it's good. And I'm like, what? Like Ansel Adams couldn't have taken a better. Like this was, she did it, James. You see in the picture, she did it. And then driving home, it's like the vibes in the car. The kids realized what that meant for me. They loved it. To them, they see that that was such like my kids have never seen that type of environment. They've been around crowds, but not fanatical, crazy Colombians, right? Um, and shout out to that restaurant. Shout out to the owners for doing that experience for not just me. Everyone else had connects with him in some form or fashion. He was their grandfather's favorite player. Maybe people just want an autograph. Maybe people their boyfriend loves them. You know what I mean? Like their husband. It, it and for me to share that moment with my kids free of charge, um, get a picture. Uh, Let me show you now what was signed. So let's first start off with
Yeah.
the first item. So this was funny because in the car I'm geeking. In the car I'm like, yes, right. First MLS 1997 gold border, right? But check this out.
Bring it a bit more in the middle, champ. Just bring it a bit more in the middle of the thing because it's
A
cuts.
little more than a little. All right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There we go.
All right. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
here's the
yeah,
problem. Are you ready?
yeah.
Create a Pibe auto.
What happened there? He signed it on
So
the
now I
card saver.
have. So my
He
first
signed it on the
item signed.
semi-rigid.
My first item signed is the Pibe card saver. So you can add any Pibe card to it, and it instantly makes it a on-card auto of Pibe. Shout out to Pibe for seeing the vision. Champ's gonna start selling these. I was actually thinking about a tattoo because I saw a guy there. He had an auto of Pibe. He got Pibe to sign it, and I thought that was smooth. And he was like, "I'm gonna get a tattoo." And once I saw this, I was like, "I got the blueprint too." Like, so nice,
It's
right? So
pretty.
that's
It's
the
quite
first
cool
item he
actually.
signed,
A card
right?
saver.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
you
actually
could like
cool,
add it to
and
anything, like,
it's
you
an
know what I mean?
amusing story as well. You know, it's a you know it's great.
I wanted this one signed, man. The gold border, 1997, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
what I'd
the
say
upper
is bring
deck.
it a little bit because the it like cuts a bit in terms of
All right.
yeah that's perfect yeah wow that's
So
an
I
amazing
missed
card,
out,
isn't it?
but that's okay because I got the card saver, so I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Here we go. So the next item we're gonna go with
Oh wow.
got the foot sticker.
Yeah. Amazing.
Beautiful,
It's
man.
so great. Such yeah.
Iconic. The French foot, Panini, right? History, heritage,
Was that a
beautiful
raw that you
design.
had? Did you have
Yeah.
the raw?
Oh,
Yeah,
I
you
have.
had the raw. You didn't like crack anything
I,
to sign. No,
yeah,
no.
no. I got plenty of raw. I got plenty of raw Pibe. And this one here is the 1988 France Foot 89, right? Yellow border. Oh man, this is like, oh man, 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 man. Look at that.
Yeah, that's probably the sticker I think of when I think of Valderrama. To be honest, that
This is
one.
the
It's
one.
just
It's
yeah.
like, so I mean, why I chose these two items, I don't know. Just iconic for me. These two for me are just iconic. And then the final item, which was the one that man, I was really geeking. I'll say that I was really geeking. I have to figure out what I'm gonna do with it. I do want to encase it, or do I want to pull it off? Like, cause it's. I mean, I don't even know. I just know that this made my whole freaking collecting life, like, for me to have
That's
that sign.
amazing. It's amazing.
Now it's a little off, but the main point, if you
Yeah.
see his number 10 and like the P, everything is still good. So
Honestly,
crazy.
I just leave it the way it is because you said before, it's a real.
You flip through it too.
Co-
You flip through
yeah,
it too,
it's
James. You flip
exactly.
through it
It's
so
like you wanted people. I remember you said in the episode, it really stuck with me. You wanted people to like feel it, the smell and stuff like
yes.
that, and to have that and open it. I think to scrape it, to recover it and then grade it, yeah, fine. But I personally, I wouldn't.
That's
It's
like,
just
right? No, like
beautiful.
I'm not that's the item for me.
Yeah,
That's rookie album 1981 signed in person in front of me and my children in my city during an important Copa America. Like, you couldn't have asked for a better moment. I didn't have time to prepare. I had to leave like quick. Credit my children for like having the patience and to knowing the importance of this event for me. Credit that restaurant for allowing us to do it, man. I'm telling you, they made a lot of people happy. They put on for our city. I'm just, man, I'm happy that everything went the way it was supposed to, James. I feel stronger, I feel smarter, I feel lighter, I feel quicker. I'm like, I have stuff signed by him, yes, but I don't got those items signed by him.
no,
I don't think
and you
many
got
people
them
do. Like, yeah,
yourself. You got them
yes,
yourself
like
as
I don't
well.
I don't think this was my best foot sticker that I had as far as centering condition. This one is my best copy. This one I got. I mean, I don't know any price of what I buy anything, honestly. Like, I'll buy something an hour ago and I don't know like literally what I paid for it an hour later. Like, but I remember this. Someone put up the whole set and I must have found it when the whole set was still available, right? Like the whole set was still available.
Hmm.
So I go in there and I noticed that they were all like centered and look, and this was the one that I never graded. I always wanted it in a nice condition. I never knew for what, because I graded a whole bunch of them. I've graded a lot of these, and I've only graded twice, but I graded like 5 of these, right? But like for me to be able to that one, the best copy, and to hold it for this moment, not knowing it was going to be for this moment, it made everything perfect for me, man.
Were you holding it subconsciously, thinking in some way? Because why would you not grade the best copy? So what
So
was your reasoning? Because you're quite an analytical man.
yeah,
So what
no,
what was what was the reason?
it was because that's a great question. It's because I wanted a great raw copy
Yeah.
because of what's called Newton rings and all this other stuff that I didn't want to put in my like best sticker in a holder. And at that time, I was a little shaky. I didn't like, and I knew that this was the one.
Yeah.
But like I said, not to be signed by him later, but it was the best one I had. So I held back that I didn't want it in case because I didn't want anything to be wrong with it. I didn't want it. And now, like, man, this to me is a 10 auto. If they're to grade it, I mean, I hope it gets at least a 6, 7. I mean, that'd be so cool. Um, I mean, it's just, man, I have these, man. It feels great. It goes to show, like, don't be afraid to do, like, I stepped out of my comfort zone to do this. I was with my kids out of my comfort zone. I usually try to be in places with them where I feel really safe. I know the plan. I walked into this knowing that it could get hectic, and it did, but I also knew that, you know what, these guys know how to run a business. They're not gonna let things get too out of hand. And obviously they had, cops there doing their job.
Yeah.
Um, and so, I was out of my element though. And what I mean is I was at another Colombian restaurant with my collection. I had the album, I had stickers, I had my kids with me, and I was like, we go, a little kid, man. I was like waiting, excited. I was like, don't stress. Whatever happens, just absorb it and flip it into positive energy. My son had to use, restroom. I wasn't mad. I was like, all right, go. My daughter took them. I'm watching them. They went, came back. Like everything was happening perfect. And I hope everyone gets a chance to meet the people that they follow and they chase. It gave me this energy, like right now. Like I feel like I gotta dive further into this now.
Yeah.
Like this happened, and this was a blessing to my personal collection of them. You know what I mean? And this wasn't just for me. This was for people that collect their those players that don't have 12 World Cups and don't have, those players that mean something to them for whatever reason, right? Whatever reason. Um, and for me to get this moment at this age, like I said, everything was just the perfect time. It told Champ, like, keep going this pathway. You're doing it right. You're doing it well. My kids are seeing like more of this. They're starting to see this whole world and how cool it is, and now we just gotta just cross our fingers, man, and keep riding this wave, man. I'm excited,
Yeah.
man. I'm excited. I
No,
love
it's amazing.
collecting, man.
And you say
Love
it's
it.
it's a memory for a lifetime as well. And I'm not going to talk
Yes.
about it now, but 12th of October 2006, me and my little sister and best friend met our heroes in a similar thing, which I'm going to talk about in a whole separate video. But these things, when you share them, the question I'm going to ask you in a minute is about your children, but when you share them with the people you love closest to you as well, you remember them for life. Like we
Yeah.
speak about the 12th of October 2006 pretty much. It's been pretty much constant since the 12th of October 2006. We've been speaking
Yeah.
about that day. It comes up because there's this whole story involved in the day, and everything is.
It has
It's
such meaning.
and did your question I was going to ask, Champ? Did your children enjoy it?
Yes. They weren't sad. They were happy. They saw me in the car. They saw me in my moment, like unfiltered, like geeking, oh man, the vibe I had in that car, the vibe going home, driving in that car, right, with everything in the car, re-talking about everything and how it occurred, how,
Yeah,
because I'm just like kind of like telling them that everything is gonna be okay. But James, at the time, I didn't know. There was a chance that he could have left. You know what I mean? Like, but in
yeah,
my mind, I was like, no, like we came here for a reason. Like we didn't come here to not leave. I like look. I told my like kids in like the car right before we like walked in. I was like, look, if I don't get nothing signed and I don't get a pick, I'm taking Pibe. I'm taking something. Like I'm kidnapping Pibe. We're gonna put him
a
in the
lock of
trunk.
his hair.
So like my
Just
kids
like,
were
just
laughing
like,
about that, right? Yeah, we're gonna cut his hair. We're gonna try to do a ransom. Like I was already kind of being funny about it with them because I was tense. but I knew I couldn't let them know I was tense. I
Yeah.
didn't want them to see fear, and it wasn't really fear. It was just like adrenaline that I had of like where I'm walking into a place that I don't know exactly what's going to happen inside. So usually when you go out to eat, you go to the bank, you know what you're going to do. We're going to go inside, we're going to eat, we're going to go home. We're going to go inside, we're going to get money, we're going to leave. Like you kind of know.
Yeah.
Here it's like we don't know if we're going to get an autograph. We don't know if we're going to get the picture. How is it going to happen? Where's the line? Like we didn't know none of that. But man, it worked out perfectly. I know my kids now know that this is for real. They saw people lined up for him. I think now they know like El Pibe is that guy for real, for real. Like, because maybe they thought he's an old guy. Who is he? He's old. You know, he's not Luis Diaz. He's not popular. But it's like they saw the power of an icon for a whole country. And
Yeah.
um, next day we go see them play, and it was a great 48 hours. It's a moment for my kids. If you add 72 hours, they got to rip open some packs. So it was like a cool 3 day hobby football, Colombia pride thing. Right, went to the
Festival.
game with
It's
my
like a
father,
festival.
wife. Yeah, like we did it up. Like we had it was like a 3 day event for us. Like, and that's how I like treated it as like, make it like now, we like got this signed, tomorrow's the game. You know what I mean? Like now tomorrow's a whole nother experience.
Yeah.
We go to the game. That experience was amazing. I mean, that's a whole nother lot. Um, that was incredible to watch a game, watch them win. Um, saw my father, saw my uncle cry like the first goal that like they made, which has another cute story attached to it. But the first goal, I look over towards my right, my dad and my uncle. They're both in their 70s, right? So they're at the game with Champ, and they're both like tears streaming down their face, man. James, like grown men, like granddads, like crying. I look at the crowd, like the people, the my kids, their expressions, like football combined these 3 days and put sense. It put I don't even know what it put into everything that I've done up until now with collecting. You know what I mean? Like everything that I've chased, everything that I've hunted for them, everything that I've talked about them, it all like did full circle at the signing, at this game, like ripping pack, like all these events, all these moments were what now I know is going to go forward. That my kids now they get this now. My kids know more about this than your average 7 and 10 year olds. Like
Mm.
they know more about unstuck backs. They know about the rare backs, about the 1970 World Cup. They even know about trebles. They know about like the prisms of the new ones. They know about Ford. Like I've taught them like little things that they kind of know. So I have my certain cars that I'm like, yo, Chavi Gold Prism. This one's one of dad's favorites. So they know like always, there's only 10 of them, right? And I'm like, score. Like they like know about the Pibe album, how important like that item is. Like they know that no one had I think that no one has that signed. You know what I mean? Like that album signed by El Pibe. Like um so it's like all these things like they get it. And it was I'm telling you, thankful to the universe for like doing this little 3 day like Woodstock for champ stock. Like I couldn't have asked for a better like 3 days to be with family, to share moments. The business, James, me and you kind of talked about this like off air. Our business, our volume, our sales, we and I'm not trying to sound crazy, but we broke records that have been standing for a while. One thing is sales, but obviously with inflation, everything goes up. But volume wise, when you actually, items sold, wow, close to like 4,300 like empanadas. I
That's
mean,
mad.
it was crazy how it was like a 4 or 5 day. Every day was busy all day long. It was like after the game, I pulled up to the restaurant. There was a line outside on a Monday. There was a line of nothing but a wave of Colombian people. Everyone is leaving like reviews saying how the service was good, the food was great. People were leaving notes on like their receipts because we got slammed because a lot of our staff went to the game. So, I like made some errors too, as far as I feel like I didn't plan enough, but the staff that was there, they held it down. We shattered records. Like this moves like money, like culture, like humans. Like, can you imagine 4 or 5 days of your business being nonstop full the whole day long? We don't sell alcohol, James. You know what I mean? And people know that. And people are coming in knowing that we don't sell alcohol and they're staying and watching games and eating and on top of our regular customers, right? Like, so it was a blessing for the city, for so many restaurants, man. I'm telling you, this is bigger than so many things, man. And to see it and to know that, man, collecting is just gonna get bigger in my mind. Like I'm trying to get now. I want some game worn Pibe jerseys. I like from the games in the '90s. Like I'm like that's the type of stuff that I feel is my next level. Like
Yeah.
we were like talking about tickets. Like, can you
Yeah.
imagine me getting like a Pibe debut from '81 ticket of a little stub or something from Colombia? Like those now, like that's what I mean. The champ now is like Bruce Leroy. I'm glowing now. This is like, man, the
Energized.
last dragon. You know what I mean? I'm glowing now, man. I got to shine now. Like now I'm looking at like another level. You know what I mean? And man, I won, man. I won. I really feel like it was just perfect, man. Bless. And I had to share it with you. Had to come on your channel. It was only right. I try to do a live, and the champ ain't so good with like tech and gadgets and stuff, so it was lagging and skipping, so I didn't even try. And then I knew I was like, nah, man, the only person that I feel like comfortable talking with is my therapist. His name is James, and that's why I came on your channel. I knew that it was only right with everything that we like talked about in our like show. Like it was like for me to get this moment, man, and for me to show that album and not know that he's gonna come and then he comes and then I get it signed like with my children, like and my
Yeah.
daughter takes the pick, like man, 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 and go Colombia, man. They did they play their best football? No, but the energy they brought to the city, man, shout out to them, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to
And
the shout out to the card
card
saver.
saver.
You know what I mean? He's got to do something like this. Look at that.
You could get that card saver like
Look at
replicated.
that. Signed.
You could like yeah. It's very interesting. I mean, it's funny that you didn't notice as well live. I mean, did anyone notice what he was doing live?
So the mic guy made a comment of Pibe, Pibe, take it out. And
Oh,
Pibe takes the card out and like showed it to the crowd, the 97 border. Then he put it back in and he signed the thing again. The guy
oh,
just looks at me and kind of like no one was gonna say nothing. I wasn't gonna correct. At that point, I was kind of like, it is what it is, man. It is what it is, man.
yeah.
Like, Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
What an
no,
amazing.
it is what it is. But the funny thing is though, so I didn't catch it though. I thought he did pull it out. So when dude is like,
Yeah.
Pibe, Pibe, you know what I'm saying? Like, pull it out. I'm hearing that. I'm thinking he pulls it out. It wasn't until I get into the car that it hit that, oh, he pulled it out and showed it, but he didn't sign the actual card. But the French foot stickers, my daughter had them
Who?
ready because I had told her, like, yo, pull those out because I can't do it in front of him. I was like, Andrea, I'm going to be shaking. I'm going to be sweaty. I'm going to be nervous. You got to pull them out for me. James, she knows how to pull these stickers out. Like she knows how to. I mean, she did drop it. She did fumble,
Yeah.
but she did make up for it with the picture. But she like pulled it out, and man, everything was perfect,
Amazing.
man. Wow.
What an amazing story, and I'm so happy for you. I'm so thrilled for you when I saw you did it. When you said about coming on, I was like, yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's arrange it. 1 day, 2 days. Let's get it done. Get it
Yes,
ready.
yes, yes, yes.
And an amazing story. And thank you to you, Champ, for coming on again, for inviting yourself on. To be fair, this time.
That
And
means
then
no invitation.
yeah. Well, we're talking about other things we're going to do in future as well. Possibly maybe some podcast ideas. Possibly with another person as well. We haven't another 2 people who don't know yet, but they will do soon. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on. An amazing story. Myself and Champ will be doing some stuff very, very soon as well, but in future together. But thank you so much for watching. If you're able to subscribe to the channel, like the video, watch some of the other videos, then it'll be much
Or I
appreciated.
won't follow you. Please subscribe, or I won't follow you.
Yeah,
This
you'll go and
this
delete.
channel is amazing, and I think it's just, man, if you're really into collecting, subscribe to this channel, man. Show support. It's amazing. James has amazing content. He's got amazing ideas. Slowly but surely, everything's gonna drizzle out, and you guys are gonna see. So, and the Champ reporting, investigative. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
On the streets with the people, among the people.
yeah. Field reporter,
Yeah.
Champvanderford. But thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you soon. But from us, it's goodbye.